More than 40,000 COVID-19 tests were completed yesterday for a total of 5.1 million so far during the pandemic. There are hopes that the rapid tests coming online soon will reduce the pressure on labs, but there are delays in rolling out those tests. Joining us now with more on this is Michelle Hoad, CEO of the Medical Lab Professionals Association of Ontario. Thanks so much for making time for us this afternoon, Michelle.
Hi there.
So I'll start with asking you about this delay we're seeing. Why is this happening?
So the point-of-care tests, rapid tests as everybody's referring to them, actually need to go through the same process that our regular PCR instruments go. So they need to be validated. So that's exactly what's happening. So all these tests have been received into the province. They have been spread out in a variety of locations, such as hospitals. They actually have to make sure the parts are all there and the machine actually works. And then what they do in the validation process is they start to compare results that have already been received, for example, some positives and some negatives, and they'll run them through the machine to make sure they get the same results. Ultimately, we want to ensure that any machine that is out there is providing the most accurate results as potentially possible.
We know that obviously labs right now are very busy processing all of the COVID-19 tests. What kind of impact do you think these new rapid tests are going to have on getting results faster?
I think what the rapid tests will do will actually alleviate pressure going into the lab. So right now, as everyone's aware, we changed who can actually go in and get tested. So those are symptomatic patients. That's who actually goes. Once the point-of-care tests come in, I think it'll open it up a little bit more. So depending on how the government determines that, but we'll be able to address those tests outside of the laboratory. So less pressure on our labs right now, who have been doing tremendous work for the last 9 months.
What about the shortage of lab professionals in the province? Have you heard anything more about potentially getting more folks in that industry?
So the medical lab technologist group, that's the group that we're talking about that is the massive shortage. They are, they're looking at trying to drag people out of retirement and bring them back, look at potentially internationally educated and bring them into the fold. And there's been a lot of support on the front end of the system, but still bottleneck there. So we are constantly working to understand those shortages. I mean, the good news right now is because there's been a little bit of alleviation in the labs, our lab professionals that have been working 24/7 for the last 9 months are starting to be able to take vacation and actually getting a bit of a breather. And that's just temporary because now we're entering flu season.
Right. I do want to ask you as well where you would expect we'll see these rapid tests be performed.
Great question. So from what I understand, it's going to, I think they're going to push them out to hospitals and definitely deal with areas that are high priorities. For example, if you live in a northern community right now, if you get a PCR test, you might be waiting 2 weeks because your test actually has to travel, whether by its taxi or potentially helicopter. So we want to get them into communities that need them. Secondly, most likely long-term care homes, definitely high communities that we're concerned about, those vulnerable populations. So we're in a wait and see approach. The government has advised us beginning of November. We're guessing probably middle of November, but when they get here, they will definitely help us.
Okay, my last and probably the most important question here is any update on the accuracy of these rapid tests?
So the whole point of the validation process is to help our hospitals with that. So that's exactly why they're validating. So what they'll do is they'll get a test that has a positive result and a test that has a negative result, and they'll run them through the machine to see if they get the same result. And then they'll do blind tests, and then they'll start to see how accurate these machines are. All again done in a protocol to ensure that whatever we roll out to our public is as accurate as possible.
I know it's going to be tough for you to give us the timeline, but do you have any idea? Is it a matter of the next couple of weeks before we see these come online?
We have been told they should be ready to go early November.
Okay.
Early November is always a very interesting definition. Does that mean the first week or the second week? So we're kind of hoping soon.
Okay, fair enough. Thank you so much for the update. We appreciate your time, Michelle.
Great. Have a good day.
You as well. That was Michelle Hoad.